Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Harshiv Education, and in this video we are going to learn about SwiftUI and we will make an application called quiz application. This is animal knowledge quiz application, and you'll have some questions. The questions will appear here, and then we'll have a timer and we will have some options. So once you select a correct option, you will be moved to next question. If you select a wrong option, you will see a wrong sign over here, and once you complete all the questions, you'll see a thank you screen. So that's all we will make in this video. We will make it using SwiftUI and we will make it properly using MVVM design pattern. So let me show you a demo of this application. So what we have is so you see we have a timer, we have a question: which is the fastest animal in the world? That's cheetah. Then which of these animals swim upright position? Seahorse. And the largest living fish is this. So after that you get this screen where it says that's a wrap, thank you for playing, and you can play again. So if you select a wrong answer, you will see this. If you select a right answer, you will see this. So that's pretty much it. That's what we are going to make. And what we have currently is this is what we have. This is the hello world. That's the simple application. That is what we have in our content view. Nothing is there. I have added some files which I have written, like the model which we will use to make our application. So what you need here is a question, couple of options, and yeah, and this timer won't need any model. So as you can see, we have quiz model. It has question, answer, and option list. And the options list has ID, option id is nothing but a b c d, this one. And then color of these option ids. And then is selected and is match. Is selected and is match is to get the state of the quiz options, like when you select any option, then is selected will be true, and if it is a correct answer, then is matched also will be true, right? And this we have made it identifiable because we will be using it in the dynamic for each loop. I will explain you in more detail why exactly we need this identifiable, and because of this we had to add this var id int as well. Okay, and we have this quiz. We have main struct is quiz. There you can see we are keeping track of our current question index, and then we have our quiz model, and then we keep track of if the quiz is completed, and if we complete the quiz, whether we win it or we lost. So that these two boolean will take care of that, right? So initially the winning status is false because you have not even started the game, right? And quiz completed also is false. You can initialize it over here. Also if you see, I have added some folders like view model and UI components. So as I said initially, we will be doing it using MVVM, model view model. So we have our model ready, right? This is a very simple model for our quiz based application. And then UI components, any views which we will be creating except what we have in content view, everything will go in UI components. And of course we'll have a view model which will take care of the communication between model and the views. So as you see in Swift, all the views is struct, right? So struct is immutable. So anything uh, it's like if you create any variable, you won't be able to change it. So there are so many things. That's why Apple created views as struct, because they don't want any business logic in our view, right? In MVVM pattern, in the view layer, you don't want any logic. So that is why we write all the UI in our struct. But there are many exceptions, like we can use @state. I will tell you more about this in detail. But yeah, so that's why we use instruct. So if you see, we have a content view, view, and then var body some view, and then this is the text, right? And if you see this this struct content view preview, this is the one which is responsible for our preview screen, right? If you remove this, we won't be able to see the preview screen. So this is not very important if you want to see what you're doing constantly without running your application, then you need it. Otherwise you can remove it as well. But it's better to see it on the go, what you're changing. If you say hello again, then it will appear over here. Sometimes it doesn't appear, so you have to click on the resume button, and then it just do some processing and show it over here, and it's not showing. There is some problem. It should show. Okay, yeah, you see over here, hello world, hello. Right. So in our application, what we want to build, if you see, we have a background image, and then on top of the background image, we have our title, and then our question, then the timer, and then a grid to create our option list, right? So in SwiftUI, all the UI you build, you create these type of views. Everything in Swift UI is views, right? All the UI you will create, everything will be view. Okay, so like text, we have something called Z stack. Z stack is used if you want to have something at the background, and then on the top of that you want some other UI views, right? So in the Z stack we will have our background image, and if you see, there is slight gradient that will also be at the Z stack, and then we will create these in V stack. This is vertical stack. So we have three stacks. One is Z stack, one is V stack, and one is sorry, H stack. Yeah, V stack, H stack, and Z stack. Z stack if you want to create something on top of each other, H stack if you want to create in horizontal order, and V stack if you want to create in vertical order. So if you see, we need in this application, what we need is, first of all, a Z stack to have our background image, and then we need V stack, vertical image, vertical stack, so that we can lay out these things vertically, right? And then after layouting these first three, we will have this grid view. So that is something I will, when I'll create, I'll explain. That is something called lazy V grid. So yeah, we'll see that. So let's just first create our Z stack and our image. So let's get right into it. So let's remove this and say Z stack, right? And inside the Z stack, the first thing what we want is our image. So for that, we have something called image, as simple as that. And then you can name your image. So I have already kept these image over here, this image BG, the one which we are using in our application. So we can use that. All this code you will be available at a GitHub. I will share the GitHub link in the description, so you can you can access those. So make sure, if you want to write the code along with me, then please do get access to GitHub and take this quiz model and the BG image, and make sure before starting you have this kind of structure. So we will say BG, right? And then there are some changes, like if you want to resize the image, if you want to set the aspect ratio, then we can add modifiers. We can add modifiers on this view. So if you click on resume, you should be able to see the image. Yeah, this is the image. Now it looks a bit distorted, so we can resize it. So we have a modifier resizable, and so if you see, it has resized. It's like it's fit in the screen. Yeah. And then yeah, I mean, aspect ratio also, I mean, I want to look at bit, you know, proper, like it should be fit. It's like it has the image doesn't look good, right? So we can use the aspect ratio. So I don't need to set that. I just need to say that it should be fit in my screen. Not fit. What do we see here? It's fill from top to bottom, so we need to fill it. Yeah, yeah, this should be fine what we are looking over here. But we see this top and bottom, we see some spaces, so we can ignore that using ignore safe area, because it's leaving those space because it was the safe area space, so we can ignore that. So now we have the background image in the Z stack, right? In the Z stack itself, we will create a linear gradient as well, because if you see, this is a bit different than what we have over here. We have a little bit of gradient, so we can create it. So in the Z stack itself, we can say linear gradient and colors. So you can provide the colors. I will give purple first, purple with some opacity of 0.4, and yeah, and I'll give one more color, dot blue, opacity same 0.4, and the start point will be top leading, no, top leading, and endpoint would be bottom trailing. And you should see some gradient, but it's again ignoring, it's not taking that safe area, right? It's not taking into that, so we will say ignore safe area. So that should take care of it. Yeah, so we have our background ready, right? Now we have our background ready, so we can create our vertical stack. Now we can create this layout, this part, right? Actually the whole part, but first we'll create this much, and then we will create this part, and we will make the functionality work little bit, and then in the end we'll create this timer. So we'll keep this for the end, and we'll first focus on the vertical stack and the grid. So let me fast forward the writing part of my code for these VStack, and I will explain you after writing the code. Okay, so our first part of the app is complete. The title and the question. Um, yeah, so it's very simple. In the Z stack, after creating these image and linear gradient, we have our V stack, and in the V stack we have two text. One is for animal knowledge quiz, and another one is for my question. This is hard coded, but we will do it using our model, using the view model. If you see, these two text looks quite similar. So what we can do is we can just press on command and click on it and say extract subview. Yeah, so it will create a new subview for this text itself. So we can call it reusable text. Reusable text, right? And if you see, the text and the size is different, and there are some other which will not include over here. So we'll say var text and var size of int, right? And I can call it from here. I can just reuse this, right? Instead of writing it again and again, every time I will need this, I will just call these text, and in this I will pass my text. Oh, not inside, I have to give it outside over here for the struct. Yeah, so text would be animal knowledge quiz, and same thing I can do. Oh, one more size, I have to give size as well. So size would be 30. Same thing I can do over here, but I do want line limit and everything, so I'll just do till here. Yeah, so instead of this, it would be my question, and I will make it size 25. Yeah, and this padding, I want different padding for my button, for my text. In every text I want different padding, right? So I'll keep the padding outside of my reusable so that I can give different padding for my different, or otherwise you'll have to pass it or create, or you can create new object and pass through object. So there are many other ways, but yeah, I prefer like this. So yeah, it should be same. Instead of keeping it over here, I can remove it and keep it in my new UI components folder, right? So create a new file and just call it reusable, oops, reusable text, and create. And you can keep that reusable text over here, and you have to import SwiftUI, otherwise it will complain. So yeah, so I can now remove it from here. Okay, yeah, okay, so this is ready. Why is it showing knowledge kingdom again? Oh, did I not change? Oh, come on, I did not change it over here. I have to use text over here, and I have to use the size over here. Yeah, invalid reading, and Xcode is a bit slow in our case, so we'll just ignore it. Oh, it's not CG, it has to be CG float. Apologies again, it has to be CG float, not int. Yeah, it should be fine now. Okay, so resume, and come on. Yeah, now it's fine. Okay, so this portion is ready. Now we have to have our grid. The grid part will create. So to create the grid part, we need to have this data, or we can have some test data, but let's create our data now. So for that, let's create a view model. So create a new file and call it game manager VM. VM stands for view model, and we will make it as class game manager VM. Yeah, and we'll create some test. Oh, come on, not this. Yeah, and we'll create some test data based on this model. So I already have the three questions which we have. So if you see over here, I created it in an extension. So I'll just paste it over here instead of writing it. Yeah, so in an extension, if you see, what all I have done is in a static var I have created my quiz data, and it's complaining because I don't have SwiftUI imported. Import SwiftUI, because we are passing color as well, and the color is in SwiftUI format, so that's why we have to import SwiftUI as well. So this shouldn't be in, like, it shouldn't be like that in the real-time project, because obviously we will not be hard coding our questions and answers. It should be coming from some API or maybe Firebase somewhere else, but for the purpose of this tutorial I have my questions hard coded. You can keep it in plist or something like that. So yeah, so these are my hard coded questions. So I will create my data over here, and that would be quiz data, and I'll take the first question from here, right? So now data will have the questions and questions list as well now. So I can use this, I can use it in the content view. Over here, instead of my question, I can say data dot, is it coming? Is it coming? Oh, sorry, I have to say game manager VM dot data dot question. Yeah, so now it should show my first question. Resume. And similarly, for those we have the option list in our model. if you see option list, so I can loop through the option list and create our grid. So to create a grid, we will be using a view called lazy vgrid, which is provided by SwiftUI. So let me fast code that part so that I don't bore you by typing. That would take a lot of time for me. So let me fast code it and then I'll explain you. Okay, so our grid view is ready. If you can see, I did not write the code over here. I have actually written it in this file, option grid view, and I have just called it over here. And you see this space between the question and this grid view, this is because of the spacer. So this is also a view. It just strategically takes space between the views. So if you keep it at the bottom, then this will go up and the space will come down. So you can use this spacer to show space in between your page strategically. I mean, you have to decide where you want to put it. Okay, so I have just left the space for our timer. Okay, so let's see how we have designed this grid. So as I told you, we have something called lazy v grid in SwiftUI. So with lazy v grid, we have columns property. So with this column, actually you can define how many columns you require in your grid, right? So in this I have said that I need two columns as you see, and it will have fixed grid item. Fixed grid item means it will have 170 width and 170 height. You can, there is one more option called flexible. With flexible, it will take up the space as needed. Like if you keep flexible and keep count as 4, then it will, based on the space in your phone, it will keep 4 items in the grid view. So yeah, so this column property defines how many column you need in your grid. So over here is the column. The spacing, if you see over here, this defines how much spacing we need from left to right and from top to bottom. Over here I have given 0 spacing because I don't want this column spacing. I want this main grid spacing, so this spacing will override this one. And anyways, if you remove this also, then also it should be fine. Okay, so in this lazy v grid, if you see, I have a for each loop which is going through my option list, right? Game manager, VM, quiz data, and I have this option list. And then we have option card view created based on this option list. These are the cards. These are the cards which we are seeing, which we are getting from here. So this card, if you see, we just passed our quiz option model, and based on some conditions we show different kinds of cards. So there are two types of card we want to show. One is this one where you see the actual option, and the other one is the image view. You see over only image. So in this it will just appear in green color or red color, check mark or cross mark, based on if you select a right answer then check mark, if you select a wrong answer then cross mark. So that's what I have done over here. In the VStack, I just see if quiz option is matched and is selected is also true, like you have selected and the answer has matched, then we will show the check mark, option status image view check mark. So this will show a check mark and a um, green color on this card. If you select a wrong option and you have selected it and it has not matched, then it will show X mark, right? And if both the options are like if you have not selected anything and it's not matched, this is the condition, this is the state currently. So in that state we will show the option view, this view which we see right now. So this is what is this option view. So that's what I mean. I have just segregated my UI view. I did not write everything over here. I just segregated it in different views so that it would be easier to read and it would be easier to understand. Over here also, this background color of these card is based on this condition only. If it is matched and selected, then green color, otherwise red. And if it is a normal state, then it is in white color. Okay, so now that you have your grid view, now you have to write your logic that when I select over here, it should either show me check mark or X mark, or and if there's a check marks, it should go to the next question. So we will see all that logic. We will do everything in MVVM style, but I wanted to show you that you can do it over here as well. You can do it over here, but that is not a right way. You shouldn't be writing any logic over here, but there is a way we can do it. Let's just see that. So I just wanted to show you how it works. So instead of calling this right here, we will just create a variable, and we call it quiz record. Yeah, and yeah, and then we will just loop through on this quiz record option list. So the logic is when you tap on so there is an on tap gesture on a card. When you tap on this card, I want to check whether you have tapped on a correct card or not. So you can write a function right here. So you can say func uh, verify my answer, right? Verify my answer whether it's correct or not. And I will pass my selected option, right? And it would be quiz option. Yeah. So what I have to do over here, I have to check if selected option dot option ID is equals to my uh, this question answer. We have an quiz data dot answer. Yeah, so this answer would be the option ID itself. So if it is selected, then it's true. In that case, we have to select this box in this view, in this record, and change its is selected and is matched is selected and is matched. We have to change it to true. So how we will do it, we have to select this box first in this record. So how we will do it, we have to write one more. We can write it like this: if let, and we have to get the index of this box, right? So we have to get the index. Let's say I get the index from quiz record dot option list dot first index, where dollar we can it's a short way. I'm sure you must be knowing this from Swift. This syntax shouldn't be new for you as well. Option ID, if it is same as selected option dot option ID, then we have the correct index. So in that case, we will take that index and get our we will get the record, right? So let's say quiz record and then index, or not here, quiz record at quiz data. Oh, option list, sorry, option list and then index. Yeah, so this is where we want to change if the selected option is correct. So let's move this over here. Let's move it over here, and in this we want to change the is match. Come on. Oh, there is a error. I have to put a curly braces over here, otherwise it will keep giving me that error, and then we won't be able to do it. So is matched, yeah, is matched. So let's say it has matched, so I will say true for that. because in our condition it's matching. And quiz record dot option list and index is selected also true. So that case, and we can do one more condition, like what if they selected and it's not the match, if it is not the correct answer, then is match will be false. So now yes, so it should work, right? It looks good. But you have a problem. What it says, cannot assign to property self to property as it is self is immutable. So that's what I said initially, that in SwiftUI all the view is struct, and as it is struct it is immutable, so you cannot change these records, you cannot change it. So if you cannot change it, how will you change the state of your UI? All you have to do over here, for that there is a solution, it's called state. So as soon as you add this property observer, these errors will go and it will say, okay, now this quiz record is mutable, now I can change it. And there is one more property, it comes that anytime I change anything for this quiz record, it will change everywhere, like it will work as like property observer, like it will inform everywhere else and it will be updated. So I don't have to do any more changes. If I run this code, I should be able to select. Oh, I have to call this first. Sorry about that. Let's call it selected option, and I will pass my quiz option, and I should be able to select it. So this is one way, but if you see, it is quite messy. So okay, if I select turtle, it says sorry, it's a wrong answer. Rabbit, wrong answer. Cheetah, correct answer. Way to go. So we show this. So because we have put the state, every time we change over here it gets intimated, and these methods are being called, these views are being called, I'm sorry about that, and our view is being updated. So that's what is happening. But this is not the right way. Add rate state is to be used only in view, and if you use it only in view for such kind of logic, it breaks the MVVM pattern, right? Like it makes your code also look very huge, everything is messy, your UI, your logic, everything is at the same place. So it is not recommended, and you cannot write it in some other file, because it is very much recommended from SwiftUI that add state property should always be private. So it has to be used for your one single view. So that's why in our condition we shouldn't be using it. So let's copy it from here and we will move it to our game manager. This is where we should be doing it. So I'll just move it here and comment it, because we will have to do some changes to make it work. And let's remove this from here, we don't want it. And yeah, so let's see how can we do it using MVVM. With MVVM, sorry, yeah, okay, so this is how we do it in MVVM. And with MVVM we have a model, view model, and a view. So what happens, our model, in our case it's quizModel.swift, this will hold the data, right? Our view model, this gets data from model and publish it to the view, and our view subscribe to the view model, and every time data is changed it reloads the view. So that's all the duty of all these model, view model, and view. So view is not responsible for any logic, it will just call view model and say, hey, yeah, it won't call I'm sorry, in MVVM pattern the view model is just a subscriber, it will just subscribe to view model, and every time there is any changes in view model data, the view model will publish the data and view will listen to that data. So that is why it is this observable patterns, right? So your view model would be observable object, and anything in this object you want to publish, you use this published uh, published keyword, and when you use this keyword, it says that whenever that data is changing, it will publish it. It will shout out that, hey, this data has been changed. Anybody is listening can listen to it and make changes to their UI. So this will say, okay, I have observed to your data, and if it is being published, I am here to take the changes. Okay, so this view will listen to this published request, this published notification, and it will update this UI. And model is only communicated with view model. Okay, any changes in model can be done by view model, and any changes in view model can be listened by the view by the by this subscription pattern, right? By subscribing to the view model. That's all we are doing. So that's what we will do over here. We will have our, in our game manager, we won't be having this. We don't want to be like this, like we don't want to always show first question. So let's just remove this, and we will be verifying our answer over here. So let's just leave it commented as of now, and we will have our index. So we'll have our index, and we will have a model which we will publish. So let me just quickly write this part, and then I'll explain you. Okay, so our game logic is ready in the game manager VM. So as we discussed, the game manager VM uh, will be extended from observable object. That is how it will be publishing its data changes to any view who is listening, right? And now to change to like previously we were doing only on one question. Now to keep changing our question, I have created a static variable current index that would initially be 0, and then we will keep on changing every time user clicks on a correct answer. And then we have a static function which creates our game model. So if you see our game model, we were just using this part only to get the first question. But if you want to loop in and get the correct answer and go to the new question, we want to create model from here. So now we will have current question index, we will have the quiz model for that current index, and then whether we will have status, whether our quiz is completed, and if it is completed, what is the status, the winning status, whether the user has won or they have lost, right? So we will keep, so that is what we will create. So the first model which we create, it would be of index 0. That's what we say over here. Quiz model will be quiz data, the quiz data which we have, so to the ith index, and then quiz completed would be false initially. So we could have just remove it from here because it would always be false, and we can keep it over here like the winning status, right? And then it's not needed over here, right? And then we have our model, the main model, which we will be publishing, right? So if you see game manager, because it's a static method, I can just call it game manager dot create model, and then on that I can pass my current index, that is 0, right? And then it will give me this model. So this is my model, this is the current model which I have to use for my first question. And I will have my content view also updated. Now I won't be using the first question, the hard-coded one. I will call my game manager, and it would be observed object. It would be wrapped into this property observer, that is observed object, right? And this dependency will be injected from our content view from here, or from our main app from here. So this is how you inject. That's the way you can even further on later on you can do your testing as well, right? So now the quiz completed. Okay, this is later part. I have created the quiz completed UI as well. So now if you see, the question is not from the old hard-coded one. It is the game manager dot model dot quiz model dot question now. Same goes for option grid view. Option grid view also takes this game manager, and then where is my option grid view? Yeah, and then we use this game manager VM to get our model, quiz model, and option list. And then when we click on this card, if you see, it is calling game manager dot verify answer, and it passes the selected option. So if you go to game manager dot VM, this is our main game logic. This is where we check whether this answer is correct or not. If it is correct, we go to next question. If it is not, then we stay on the same question. So if you see this, we have selected option, and this logic is for if I select turtle, which is wrong, and then I select something else, then turtle will be unselected, right? So I'm just first unselecting all the cards, and then based on the selected card I will select it. So as we did, right, we get the index of the selected card, right, and then we see if it is equal to our answer. If it is equal, then we set it to true, and then in a dispatch queue, after some delay, so if you see, if I select a right answer, after some delay it will go to next question. So that's what I'm doing. I am giving 0.5 second of delay, and then after that delay I just say I'll just increase my current index. So this is the current index status. I just increase it by 1, and I create my model again. So when I create this model again, this publisher will know, oh, my model has created again, so I should publish it to the world. So as soon as it is changed, it will publish it to our content view, which is listening to it, and then it will change the question, and it will change the options. Everything will be changed. If the question is less than 2, then we move to the next question, because we have only 3 questions, right? So I can just count the question over here, but I have just written hard coded that value. You can count the question and then do it. So if it is less than 2, then we move to next question. Um, if it has reached to the last question, then I just say quiz is completed and winning status is true, because if you see, we are in this block that answer is selected, right? So all the answers has been selected, and we have come to the last question. So winning status is also true. So we will move to our winning status screen, right? If it is wrong answer selected, then we just show our red card, right? So as soon as we select these as false, it will intimate, it will publish the model to our content view, and it will update and give me the red card or the green card. And as soon as I get green card, I get the new question. So for this question, this is the green card, I get the new question. As soon as for this question, the whale shark is the new card. So this is the last question. So in that case, I will reach to this block. So my quiz completed will be true, and my quiz winning status will be true. So as soon as I go here, my quiz completed status is true, and it gives this status to my content view. So if you see here in my content view, I have written a if condition now, where I see the quiz completed status. If it is true, then I don't show the questions, I show the quiz completed view, which is very simple UI, which shows the image, this game control fill image, and then I show that's a wrap or game over based on the winning status. If the winning status is true, I show that's a wrap. If winning status is false, I show game over, and the font is 30. Same here, thank you for playing. I show over here, and then I have a button which says you can play again. So on click on this button, I will play again. But in this game, I don't have the timer yet, so that's why the game over state is never ending. So the purpose of the timer is if the timer has completed and I did not find all the correct answer, it will go to the game over screen, which is basically the quiz winning status will be false, and I will show game over instead of that's a wrap. I will show better luck next time instead of thank you for playing. So let's create our timer. So if you see, our timer was something like, let's just look at the timer. This was our timer, right? So if you see, there is a gray circle, and then on top of that we have a reddish circle, and then we have a counter. So it's a Z stack. The UI is Z stack. In Z stack we have a gray circle, and on top of that we have a reddish circle, and under that in a vertical stack we have a counter. So let's create it. Let me quickly create our timer. Okay, so our timer is ready. So if you see, I have lost the game, I see game over, better luck next time. And when I play again, I have this timer running. So the timer, the UI part, if you see, we have Z stack of two circle and text view, right? That should be simple enough to understand. But if you see in the game manager, I have a timer. I have created a timer, and I have max progress set to 15, and I have this progress which I'll increment based on a timer is published. So every time this progress is incremented, this publish will tell my content view, this content view to update my UI for my timer, and that's how it is showing the circle and updating the text, updating the timer over there. So if you see, in the init I have I'm always starting the timer as soon as the game is started. So in the init I call this method start, and in this method what I can do is I create this timer. I schedule timer based on a time interval of 1 second. It is repeated, and if progress is max progress, like if the timer has reached the max length, which is 15 seconds, if it has reached there, then I understand that okay, quiz has completed, but our winning status is false because surely user has not come in this section where they have completed and their answer is correct. So basically in this else condition, so if they have not reached here first and they have reached this section first, it means they have completed the quiz but they did not win, so winning status is false. And then I call this reset method, which will just reset my timer. Let me just yeah, format this. Yeah, and then in the else loop, if it has not reached to the max progress, then I just keep increasing the timer by 1 based on this scheduler, this time scheduler, right? So every time it is updated, every time the progress is changed, I will have the subscriber over here, this observed object on game manager, this will listen to it. And if you see, after after this section I've added a spacer as well so that I get proper spacing. And then I have my Z stack of two circle. One is this, the gray one, so stroke length is 9, stroke width is 19, foreground color is gray, and opacity is 0.3. See, opacity is 0.3. And the other circle is this one. So if you see, I am trimming it from 0 to the progress, to the game manager dot progress length. So whatever is the progress, based on that length it will go. And then if you see, there is a stroke of a linear gradient, that is orange and red, and then start point, the top reading and bottom reading. That's why in this you see there is a, it's not red color or it's orange color, it's combination of both red and orange, right? And then rotation effect is 7 to 70. If you don't do it, then this will start from this location somewhere. So that's why I've just rotated the position from here to here, that's why the rotation angle. And then there is an animation. This animation is there, which is based on this max progress and the value, the progress value. So based on this progress value which we are increasing based on our timer, we can see that that animation, that smooth timer animation, right? And then we have this reusable text which we created for all these text. We have this reusable text which is showing the progress. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We have our timer, we have our game over logic as well. Like in the quiz completed, we have if winning state is not not true, then I say game over. So that's why we say game over. And then if winning state is not true, then I said better luck next time, and you can always play again. So yes, that's pretty much it. That's our game, and we learned SwiftUI, and we learned MVVM. We learned this observable pattern in SwiftUI, how we can, subscribe and publish our data from view model to content view. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, please do subscribe and like and comment and let me know. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you. Bye bye.